namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuktapadakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunastam Vitam Tam Sanjivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Namah Vishnu Padaya Kṛṣṇa Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Samiti Namini Namaste Kṛṣṇa Padaya Prabhupada Ashri Tatmane Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namini Namah Vishnu Padaya Kṛṣṇa Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvese Sashunyavadi Pasachade Satarini Vancha Kalpatruvyaschakripa Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Kṛṣṇa Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this evening we are reading from Bhagavad-Gita chapter 5 verse 14. Chapter 5 is entitled Karma Yoga. Action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And we are treating text 14. Text 14 says, Na kartṛtvam na karmāṇi lokasya sṛjati prabhuḥ na karma-phala-saṁyogaṁ svabhāvastu pravartate na kartṛtvam na karmāṇi lokasya sṛjati prabhuḥ na karma-phala-saṁyogaṁ svabhāvastu pravartate na kartṛtvam na karmāṇi lokasya sṛjati prabhuḥ na karma-phala-saṁyogaṁ svabhāvastu pravartate. Word for word translation. Okay. Word for word translation. Na, never. Kartṛtvam, proprietorship. Na, nor. Karmāṇi, activities. Lokasya, of the people. Sṛjati, creates. Prabhuḥ, the master of the city, of the body. Na, nor. Karma-phala, results of activities. Saṁyogam, connection. Svabhāvaḥ, modes of material nature. Two, but. Pravartate, acts. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. I want to read in Hindi? You want to read in Hindi? Okay. Purport. Purport. The living entity, as will be explained in the 7th chapter, is one in nature with the Supreme Lord, distinguished from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow the superior nature, the living entity, has been in contact with material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtains is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant reactions. Living in such a conditional atmosphere, one suffers the results of the activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it, but actually he is neither its proprietor nor controller of its actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of this ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil. Ukam karoti vachalam pangum lagayete grim yat kripatamahan vande Shri Gurudina Taranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyaptaina Characharam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So, everyone is welcome to this evening discussion on Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 5, entitled Karma Yoga, Action in Kṛṣṇa Consciousness, and the verse is verse 14. Which says, the embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. So in this verse, Kṛṣṇa is giving us some clue, some idea how things in this world happen. Every one of us is thinking that we are in control. But actually, no one is in control. The modes of material nature, the three gunas, the three qualities, sattva gun, raja gun, and tama gun, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. These are the three modes that control this world. And therefore, it is said here that even though the embodied spirit, master of his own body, he does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. So material nature is controlling everything. Daivihi isa gunamayi mama maya duratyaya, Kṛṣṇa says in the 7th chapter, verse 14, that this material nature is controlling everything in a very, very strict manner. Everyone is simply acting according to the modes of material nature. Even though we have our separate bodies, it's described here as a city of 9 gates. The body is a city of its own with 9 gates, 2 western gates and 7 eastern gates. So that the living entity can utilize these gates to try to enjoy his environment. Because the living entity has come into this world with a very strong desire to enjoy. Srila Prabhupada explains in one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam that the living entity, his original position, his eternal position is that he is predominated. Kṛṣṇa has 2 expansions. One expansion is the personal expansion, the Vishnu Tattvas. The other expansion are called the separated expansions, and these are the living entities, Jiva Tattva. The personal expansions, which are the Vishnu Tattva, they are the predominators, they are the enjoyers. And then the living entity or the Jiva Tattva, they are the predominated. And that is the eternal condition, the eternal constitutional position of the living entity. But when the living entity does not want to be predominated by Kṛṣṇa, actually the living entity desires to predominate. And that is what we see in this world. Everyone wants to be the boss. Everyone wants to be supreme. Everyone wants to be the best. Everyone wants to be on top. That is the general tendency of the conditioned souls. So there is competition, there is envy, there is fight, there is bickering, there is enmity. Why? Because of this competitive spirit to dominate others. So Srila Prabhupada explains that until the spirit of wanting to dominate others is given up, the living entity can never be happy. Because our natural position, our constitutional position, is for Kṛṣṇa to dominate us. And when Kṛṣṇa dominates the living entity enjoys as much as Kṛṣṇa is enjoying. But under illusion, the living entity thinks, let me become my own predominator. Let me become my own enjoyer. Kṛṣṇa is a complete supreme personality of Godhead. Kṛṣṇāya Purna Purushaya Parat Paraya. Kṛṣṇa is the Purna, he is complete. Purushaya, his original personality. Parat, he is superior. Paraya, nobody can equal him. Nobody. Nobody. Therefore, he is a supreme enjoyer. But the living entity, out of ignorance, is thinking, why is Kṛṣṇa the supreme enjoyer? Why not me? So, Kṛṣṇa created this material world for us to imitate. So we are all imitating Kṛṣṇa in this material world. Everybody wants to become the enjoyer. We all want to dominate others. We don't want to be predominated. We want to dominate. And that is the cause of our suffering. That's the cause of our misery. So because the living entity has the desire to predominate, he is given a body with 9 gates. 9 gates, 7 on the eastern side and 2 on the western side. Through these gates, the living entity can try to exploit material nature. Through these gates, the living entity can try to enjoy. But is he actually enjoying? No, because the modes of material nature are in control. Until we rise above the modes of material nature, there is no question of enjoyment. Because the modes are in control. Here Kṛṣṇa is saying, the embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. So the modes of material nature, they are in control, they are acting. And therefore, the living entity may think that he is controlling, he is acting, he is creating, but actually this is conducted by the 3 modes of material nature. The material world is a zone of the 3 modes of material nature. In fact, the whole material creation is the interaction of the modes. The 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that all the elements that we see are a combination of the 3 modes and the false ego, ahankar. When ahankar combines with the mode of goodness, the devatas, the demigods are created, the mind is created. When the ahankar combines with the mode of passion, the senses are created, the intelligence is created. When the ahankar combines with the mode of ignorance, tamas, the gross elements are created. Water, fire, air, ether, mind, and ego. They are created. So therefore, everything that we see in this world is simply a combination of the modes of nature and the false ego, ahankar. Therefore, this whole material creation is nothing but the interaction of the modes of nature and the false ego. So, it is very difficult for a living entity to actually control anything because he is in the zone of the three modes of material nature. Just as the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, is Krishna's own abode, where Krishna is engaged in his activities with his devotees, the material world is the abode of the three modes of material nature. And so the material nature and the modes of material nature engages everybody in activities. So everything in this material world is categorized according to the three modes of material nature. Everything. Everything is under the control of the three modes of material nature. The food we eat, they are in a mode of goodness, they are in a mode of passion, they are in a mode of ignorance. Charity we give is in a mode of goodness, is in a mode of passion, is in a mode of ignorance. Austerities we perform is in a mode of goodness, is in a mode of passion, is in a mode of ignorance. Sacrifices we perform, they are in a mode of goodness, they are in a mode of passion, they are in a mode of ignorance. Even the places where we live, they are in a mode of goodness, they are in a mode of passion, they are in a mode of ignorance. The scripture says that to live in the forest is in a mode of goodness. To live in the city is in a mode of passion. To live in a brothel or where alcohol and gambling and animal slaughter is taking place, those places are described as a place of ignorance. So everything we do in this world is under the three modes of material nature. Everything. Because this is the zone of the modes of material nature. Everything is made of the three modes of material nature. Our body is made of the three modes of material nature. Our intelligence, our mind, everything is made by the three modes of material nature. It's a combination. And that is why it is very difficult for us to overcome the three modes of material nature. And without rising above the three modes of material nature, we will remain miserable, we will remain unhappy, because the modes are torturing us. The modes are making us a struggle for existence. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that a living entity is thinking he is performing activities, but actually the waves of the ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That alone will save him from the turmoil. So the waves of the modes, the material waves, are tossing the living entity. Sometimes they toss him up, sometimes they bring him down. That is the experience. And everyone is being tossed by the modes of material nature. And that is why everyone undergoes some misery. Even the wealthiest man also undergoes misery. Even the most powerful person, he also undergoes misery, because the modes will not leave him alone. And nobody is superior to the modes. The living entity is not as powerful as Kṛṣṇa. Only Kṛṣṇa can control the modes. Kṛṣṇa is not touched by Maya, but the living entity is controlled by Maya. Because the living entity is Tatastha Shakti. His he's marginal. So sometimes he's under the spiritual control, and sometimes he's under the material control. That is the fate of the living entity. So here we are being told that even though we are thinking, we are creating things, we are creating actions and reactions, but actually they are done by the most material nature. So to get out, Prabhupada says here, to get out, we have to get out of the water by transcendental Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That alone will save him from all the turmoil. And that is why Kṛṣṇa is recommending in the 14th chapter, verse 26, Mamchayo vyabhicharini bhakti yogena sevate sagunai samatityaittai brahma bhuya yakalpate. Kṛṣṇa is saying that if you want to rise above the modes, then you must be engaged in vyabhicharini bhakti. Vyabhicharini bhakti means devotional service without interruption, without stop. Devotional service which is continuous, without motivation, without interruption. Such devotional service can break the chain of material struggle created by the most material nature. So therefore, this process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the only process that can free us from the most material nature. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so kind that he descended in this Kali Yuga. One day of Brahma, one day of Brahma's life, Lord Chaitanya descends to inaugurate the chanting of the holy names of Kṛṣṇa. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Vande Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Tam Karunanavam Kalo Api Asti Gudeyam Bhaktir Yena Prakashitam. That even though Kali Yuga is so terrible, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of mercy. Karunanavam. He is the embodiment of mercy, and therefore he appeared in this age of Kali, and in a very confidential way established Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Actually, Kṛṣṇa consciousness is very confidential. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his kindness, he has so nicely established this Kṛṣṇa consciousness for the benefit of the entire world. And anyone who accepts Mahaprabhu's offer to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without deviation can very easily rise above the three modes of material nature. So as Kṛṣṇa is saying that one must engage in Vyabhicharini Bhakti, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to teach us this Vyabhicharini Bhakti. How can we perform Vyabhicharini Bhakti? That is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we see that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, he was constantly engaged in chanting and dancing. During the day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will take thousands of devotees on Harinam, and they will tour the whole of Navadvip, chanting, performing Sankirtan. When it is night and everybody is going to sleep, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will meet his confidential devotees in the house of Srivas Thakur, Srivas Angam. And there all night, they will chant the holy names in a very ecstatic way throughout the whole night. So practically speaking, Mahaprabhu wasn't sleeping. He was chanting the holy names 24 hours 7. The same thing when he took sannyas and he went to Puri, at night Mahaprabhu would not sleep. Daytime he's engaged in preaching to devotees, he's engaged in performing Sankirtan, he's engaged in going to Jagannath temple to dance, to have darshan. At night Mahaprabhu would ask Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Raya to read and recite suitable verses that would remind him of Kṛṣṇa. He won't sleep. So he came to show us the process of Vyabhicharini Bhakti. How to engage in Vyabhicharini Bhakti without interruption, without motivation, without any material motive. And such actions will help us to transcend the most material nature and come to the spiritual plane. Prabhupada mentions, then we can get out of the tossing waves of the modes of material nature. Otherwise, everyone is under the grip of the three modes of material nature, even though we are thinking we are independent, we are thinking we are in control, we are thinking we are doing this, we are doing that. But actually, all these are being carried out by the three modes of material nature. So if we want to escape the three modes of material nature, the solution given here by Srila Prabhupada is Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatu Asuvaragyam Gyanachayar Ahaitukam. Anyone who is engaged in the service of Vasudeva, anyone who is engaged in the service of Kṛṣṇa, he will develop detachment and costless knowledge. And this detachment and costless knowledge will help him rise above the three modes of material nature. So the choice is ours, whether we want to remain struggling inside the ocean of Maya, the modes of nature, or we want to rise above the modes of nature. That choice is ours. And Kṛṣṇa does not force any living entity. Even when Kṛṣṇa finished speaking Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna, he asked Arjuna, what is your decision now? Now you have heard from me. Now what do you think? What do you decide? And Arjuna, he was very intelligent. He was very wise. He said, by your mercy, I've risen above the modes. I've risen above Maya. I've given up my weakness of heart. Now I am ready to act according to your instruction. So, the choice is ours. Kṛṣṇa has given us all the scriptures. Kṛṣṇa has given us all the instructions. Kṛṣṇa has even given us sadhus to give us example, to show us by their own lives what to do. The choice remains with us, whether we want to follow or we don't want to follow. If we follow, we can transcend the modes of nature and be happy. If we don't follow, then we remain under the grip of the three modes of material nature, and then we will continue to struggle for existence. We continue to fight with the modes. So, by speaking Bhagavad-Gita, Kṛṣṇa is showing us his mercy. It is said that Kṛṣṇa has many, many ways to show mercy to the devotees. And one of the ways Kṛṣṇa is showing us his mercy is by giving us Bhagavad-Gita. The words of Kṛṣṇa are not different from Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa Nam, Kṛṣṇa Gun, Kṛṣṇa Lila, Sarupena, Krishnera Sarupena, Sarvachit Ananda. The Krishna's name, Kṛṣṇa Nam, Kṛṣṇa Gun, Krishna's qualities, Kṛṣṇa Lila, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's form, Krishnera Sarupena, Krishna's form, Sarvachit Ananda, they are all spiritually blissful. So Krishna's words and Krishna's form, Kṛṣṇa himself, there is no difference. Bhinatvam namino namaha. Bhinatvam namino namaha. Krishna's name and Kṛṣṇa himself, there is no difference. So therefore, Bhagavad-Gita is Kṛṣṇa's mercy. Bhagavad-Gita is not different from Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa's words and Kṛṣṇa himself are identical. So by reading Bhagavad-Gita, by hearing Bhagavad-Gita, by touching Bhagavad-Gita, we are in touch with Kṛṣṇa. And so the message that is in Bhagavad-Gita is directly coming from Kṛṣṇa. And if we follow such instruction, we would attain transcendence. So, the city of 9 gates, the 2 ears, the 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, the mouth. These are the eastern gates. They are the eastern gates. On the head, they are the eastern gates. The genitals and the anus, they are the western gates. So by using the eastern gates, one can gain spiritual knowledge. By using the ears, one can gain spiritual knowledge. By using the eyes, one can gain spiritual knowledge. So the eastern gates are actually meant for the living entity to gain spiritual knowledge and get out of this material world. So everything is designed for a higher purpose. But because we have come here to exploit material nature, we are also utilizing these gates for the purpose of material exploitation. We are not using these gates for a higher purpose. We are using them to exploit material nature to our own disadvantage. Because the more we try to exploit material nature, the more we get entangled. It's like a fly. When a fly flies through the spider's web, he gets entangled. And the more the fly struggles to free himself, the more he gets entangled. So the living entity has flown into the web of Maya, the web of the modes of material nature, and he's struggling. And the more he struggles, the more he gets bound up by the ropes of Maya, by the ropes of the modes, by the gunas. So we have to act, but our action should be for Kṛṣṇa's pleasure. That is the only way we can get out of this web of Maya. That's the only way we can extricate ourselves from this web of Maya. So we are left with 10 minutes to 6:30. If anybody has any comment or question, is welcome. Any comment, any question? The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Jai. Welcome. The modes. Yeah. Prabhuḥ, do you have a microphone? You have a microphone, he can speak in microphone. You want to ask a question? I'm not hearing well. Microphone is not working? I'm hearing that the modes, they are competing among themselves. Maybe you can come closer so they can hear you. Okay. Become, that's right. Yeah. Okay, thank you. It says, as Kali Yuga progresses, the modes of nature become stronger. And we are trying to overcome them, but they're becoming stronger. That is true. In Kali Yuga, everything gets worse. Yeah, just finish the question. You keep it, maybe somebody else. So how do we overcome these modes in Kali Yuga? The answer is Harinam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that in Kali Yuga, things are going to be very difficult for the living entity, because things are going to get worse as Kali Yuga progresses. Therefore, Mahaprabhu descended to distribute the holy name, to demonstrate the chanting of the holy name, and to benedict the whole world with the holy names. And the holy names, because they are not different from Kṛṣṇa, they are capable of defeating the modes of nature. Actually, Kṛṣṇa says in the Bhagavad-Gita, Daivihi sagunamayi mama maya durataya Mayam itam tarantite. Mayam itam tarantite. Kṛṣṇa is saying that these modes of nature are very difficult to overcome. Mama maya duratya. Duratya means very difficult to overcome. But he also says, Mayam itarantite. Prapadyanta mayam tarantite. If you surrender unto me, Mayam tarantite. If you surrender unto me, then you can easily overcome the modes. So, Mahaprabhu's mission is to teach the living entity how to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. It is said that when Kṛṣṇa descended in this world 5,000 years ago, Kṛṣṇa ordered every living entity to surrender unto him. Sarva dharma parityajya mam eka sharana vrajam. Kṛṣṇa says everyone should surrender unto him. But after 5,000 years, how many people have surrendered to Kṛṣṇa? Very few. So therefore, Kṛṣṇa came as his own devotee. He is Kṛṣṇa, but he came as a devotee so that he can demonstrate how to surrender. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Kṛṣṇa, but his mission is to teach us how to surrender. And so, by accepting the holy name, and by constantly chanting the holy name, the modes can be defeated. So, even though in Kali Yuga, the modes are becoming stronger, things are deteriorating every day, things are degrading every day, but by the influence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can see there is a reversion, because this holy name is spreading all over the whole world, and the numbers of people chanting is increasing every day. There are signs. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that there will be 10,000 years of a golden age in Kali Yuga because of the holy name. Actually, Kali Yuga is supposed to be worse than this. But because the holy name is being chanted everywhere, in every city, in every continent, practically every town, the effect of Kali Yuga is put in check. So, if the holy name is chanted more regularly, if the holy name is chanted continuously, if the holy name spreads to every part of the corner of the world, it is possible to check the activities of the modes of material nature. And actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already given the benediction that for the next 10,000 years, we would experience Satya Yuga in Kali Yuga simply because of chanting the holy names of Kṛṣṇa. So yes, in Kali Yuga, the modes become very powerful, and they're always competing among themselves for supremacy. Nevertheless, if we take to the chanting of the holy name in a very strong way, in a very attentive way, the modes can be handled by means of the holy name. We can see this happening practically. Most of us who have come to this process, most of us who have accepted Prabhupada's preaching, Prabhupada's mission, and trying to practice, we came from such horrible backgrounds. But simply by chanting the holy name, simply by taking Kṛṣṇa Prasadam, simply by associating with the devotees, our lives have transformed. We can see it. And there is an opportunity to improve more and more and more as we perform this Harinam in a much more concentrated way, as we chant the holy name in a more attentive way. The holy name will empower us so much so that we can rise above the modes of material nature. It is possible. So there is some hope. Mahaprabhu has given us some hope. If we chant Kṛṣṇa's names very seriously, if we chant Kṛṣṇa's names with great attention, if we chant Kṛṣṇa's names with some feeling, we will feel Kṛṣṇa's presence. In fact, I always tell devotees that during our japa, it is an opportunity to meet Kṛṣṇa. During japa is an opportunity to talk with Kṛṣṇa. During japa is an opportunity to invite Kṛṣṇa into your life. During japa, it is an opportunity to create a sacred space for interacting with Kṛṣṇa. And therefore, nothing should matter during this sacred time. The period of japa is so important for a devotee that nothing else matters. Because it is the time for us to talk to Kṛṣṇa. It is the time for us to communicate with Kṛṣṇa. It is the time for us to interact with Kṛṣṇa. And therefore, Kṛṣṇa is the most important personality in our lives. And so, during that period, all other things should wait. In we chant the holy name in such a mood, Kṛṣṇa will reciprocate. Kṛṣṇa will reciprocate with us. But if we chant japa and do other things, I've seen devotees chanting japa and doing WhatsApp. I've seen devotees chanting japa and sending messages. I've seen devotees doing japa and they are on phone. Such japa will not bring good results. No. It is inattentive japa. And inattentive japa will not produce love. It will not produce prem. No. We are calling Kṛṣṇa's name, the most important personality in the universe, in the creation. And so if you are calling his name and he's about to attend to us, to answer our call, and we are doing WhatsApp, we are making a phone call, it's actually an insult. If somebody is calling you by your name, and when you answer and you want to respond to his call, then he starts talking to somebody else. Next time he calls you, you will not mind him. Even as human beings. So, if we are doing japa, we should concentrate and do our japa. 2 hours of japa is not a big deal. Devotees like Haridas Thakur, the Goswamis, they were chanting 22 hours a day. Out of the 24 hours, they will use only 2 hours to sleep and eat and bathe. And the rest of the 22 hours, they will use it for japa. And they will still say they have not finished their rounds. So if we are using only 2 hours to chant japa, and the 22 hours we use it for other things, why don't we concentrate with these 2 hours without touching anything, without meditating on anything? Let's just concentrate on the holy name, the sound of the holy name. So that Kṛṣṇa will be merciful towards us. Kṛṣṇa will see that we are trying to seek his association. We are trying to invite him into our lives, and Kṛṣṇa will respond. So to overcome the modes of nature, the holy name is the medicine, is the means. And if we take the holy name very seriously, we can overcome the modes of material nature. It has happened. It is happening. And it will happen. A number of devotees have risen above the 3 modes of material nature in the past, in the present, and in the future. Because the holy name is non-different from Kṛṣṇa. And the modes of nature are simply an instrument in the hands of Maya Devi. Gunamayi, there are ropes in the hands of Maya Devi for binding the Nitya Baddhas, the erring living entities who do not want to serve Kṛṣṇa. Maya Devi uses the modes of material nature to bind them and keep them as prisoners in this material world. But if a devotee is crying out to Kṛṣṇa every day, very sincerely, through the chanting of the holy names, Kṛṣṇa will order Maya Devi to release that devotee. So, we need to cry out. As Prabhupada explains that this japa is like a genuine cry of a child for his mother. Hara. Hara is Srimati Radharani. Hare. So a genuine crying to Srimati Radharani, Radharani will hear. When we cry genuinely, and he will tell Kṛṣṇa, see that soul, he's suffering, he's crying for your mercy, please give him mercy. And it is said that whoever Radharani recommends, Srimati Radharani recommends to Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa does not object. Immediately Kṛṣṇa will say, yes, 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 bring him. So this japa is our genuine cry for the intervention of Srimati Radharani. And if we cry sincerely, she will come to our aid. He will take us out of these waves of Maya that is tossing us here and tossing us there. I think my time is up. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad